Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop.
Hello! Welcome to Chewed Gum. This is a show about rejecting purity culture, challenging misogyny, and the effects of religious trauma on women. My name is Alyssa. And that's Taylor, who's muted.
I was muted this whole time. That's so embarrassing. Okay. I'm Taylor.
Listen.
In case you guys didn't know. And
yeah,
I do have a voice. I can talk. How are you doing, Alyssa?
I'm good. We were just saying how we're feeling super tired. I think the holiday season is just really tiring. And that's a part of it.
Yeah.
But I also think, I don't know, the holiday season just, it gives me like a mix of emotions. Sometimes it's really fun, and then other times I'm like
exhausted
so
and
randomly. Like, I don't know what it is. It's so weird.
I feel like it wouldn't be the holidays without some depression, but maybe that's like toxic of me. I don't know.
I think you're right. I also am moving to LA next week, and so as I'm doing all of this stuff, as I'm doing all of this stuff with my family and with my friends, I'm just like, and I won't see you for like 2 months because I'm gonna be back and forth always, but
yeah,
it's like nice to see everyone. Yeah, it is, but it's like
Are you excited to move there?
Yes, I'm excited to move there, but I'm really sad to leave.
Yeah.
But I also have been told by my fiance, my best friend, who I've had known my whole life, and also Jimmy, that me and my family are enmeshed. And I was like, well, I just thought we were close, but I guess not.
Wait, why? Because you live with them? Why are they saying enmeshed? I'm confused.
I think because we're so involved in each other's lives. Like, we talk to each other. We have a family group chat, and we talk to each other all the time. And do you remember a while ago there was a trend going around on TikTok that was like, or maybe it was Reels also, I don't know, whatever. Trend going around on the internet, and it was like, text your sibling and just tell them what you had for lunch and see what they say. Have you seen that before?
I think I've seen things like that or adjacent. I don't know, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So like that trend would never work for me because we tell each other what we're having for lunch sometimes anyway. So they would just be like, "Ooh, wow, looks good. Did you buy it or did you make it?" Like, it would just it wouldn't even.
Honestly, so anyway, I'm so jealous of those people who have those kinds of. I think that's cool. I think that's awesome because I think that is like more rare. I don't know.
It
is. That's really cool.
It is. So, I love it, but it does make it very hard to leave, which, it's the kind of thing where it's like, how lucky am I to have something to miss and whatever. But anyways, what was I going to say? I don't know. we have some people who have called in, so that's exciting, and we will get to them in just a second. If you want to call in to the show, we do have some lines open. It's 720-619-2288. And you can also use the web link that's in the description if you prefer to do that, or if you're in another country. And you can also send us super chats of $5 or more at the end of the show, and we will read them. What else? Oh, mug brawl. Okay, I feel like everyone's been very quiet about the mug brawl this year. I love the mug brawl. Have you gotten your mug?
Is there like a yeah, I feel like I'm maybe still confused about it. What so I have a mug. And what are we doing with it
Yes.
right now?
So I'll show you my mug. This is my mug.
Oh
And it says
yeah.
Big Brain
You did
Certified
show me
Hottie.
that the other week.
Yeah. And so everyone
Are we supposed to be
who
using them?
buys, you can if you want to. Well, because you want people to buy them
Yeah.
so that
Okay.
whoever sells the most of their design of the mug, that merch, that design will be in the store for the rest of the year.
Okay. Okay.
It's to help us with
And-
revenue because revenue goes down this time of year, so we sell the mugs. So we push it. We say, hey, buy one. It's going to only be available for like another day or two, so you better get one.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool.
And
I'm be
it's
showing
also
off my
fun.
mug.
Yeah, it's fun to to show off your mug to, for your specific hosts too. But like I have my mugs from last year and they're my favorite ones. Like I have mine that said I heart promiscuous women, and Promises had the apple and a snake and it says disobey. And it's hilarious when like my
Oh, I love
grandma
that.
comes over and she's like taking the disobey mug and she's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, Mug brawl. Mug brawl,
Don't worry
baby.
about it. Yeah, the mugs I
Don't
got
worry
are
about it.
huge.
They're
awesome.
humongous. Yeah.
I love
The
it.
inside of them is black, which I personally really like. For some reason, it makes it feel cozier. I don't know why.
Whenever mine came in, my husband saw them and was like, "What?" Because like, if it
And
says
that
on the
makes
front like
sense.
Jesus loves you very big, and then like the terms and conditions apply is like smaller underneath. So I feel like that
Yeah.
looked super weird.
No, I love
But
it.
yeah, I
That's
love
so
'em.
good. That's such a good design. And it's also fun for me too to see what everyone else created. Like Jimmy has a really
Yeah.
funny design. I actually don't know what Promises is. Anyway, I'll have to look. Okay, we have a bunch of calls. Do we have any theists? We do have a theist. Ooh, okay,
Yay.
interesting. Are you ready to start taking some calls?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm super
Okay, I'm
ready.
just like look live, wake up.
I know.
Actually, the second that we start talking to people, it ends up picking up, and I'm
Yeah. People who like theists who trigger me just need to come on. No, I'm just kidding. The theists who get me worked up, you need to come help me out. I'd appreciate
yeah,
it.
exactly. Wake us up. Wake us up. All right, let's pull in Marlon, who is a theist calling from the Philippines. Hi, Marlon.
Hello. How are you? How are you?
Good. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm alright. I'm alright. Can I please identify your name? What should I call you?
My name is
Taylor.
Alyssa. Yeah. Alyssa and Taylor. Yes.
Alyssa, right? And
Yes.
the other host,
Taylor.
Taylor.
Taylor. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So basically, I would like to talk about the historical evidence of the Bible and Jesus as a historical figure, as well as like religious culture and tradition and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on it, guys? Like
On the historical
about the-
evidence of Jesus
yes,
existing?
like the Bible, Jesus. Yes.
I have not
Um,
seen any viable evidence to show that Jesus existed. Not that I know of.
I think that he could have existed as a person, but I think if he did exist as a person, that we don't know. We definitely don't have his words and like stuff he said, and I obviously think it's like kind of a what do you call that when it's like a actual person but there's like fake stories about them, like George Washington chopping down the cherry trees type stuff. Because I
Yeah.
know a lot of people think that he did exist like as a person, but yeah, I don't know. For me, that doesn't really change anything because even if he was a guy, I feel like we don't know anything about him, and I also don't think anything supernatural was happening. As far as the rest of the Bible, I don't think any of the like crazy supernatural events happened at all.
Okay. I would say, excuse me, guys, if you hear me burping. I just had a huge breakfast, and I like to eat a lot. I'm I'm a big
Felt
Me
eater, kind
too.
of. Yeah.
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 Understood, Marlon.
Basically, I was going to say that with the Bible, there's the fragment of the Gospel of John. You can find it in John Ryland's library in Manchester, England, if you like it. It's the Papyrus 52 or P52. It's the earliest known manuscript fragment of the New Testament, like dating to the second century, again containing parts of like
Hold on,
John
Marlon.
18.
It's a
Yes,
Marlon,
yes.
it's a little hard to hear you. I don't know, maybe you need to get closer to the speaker or something. It's a little hard to hear you, but
Can you
just so
hear
that
me? Can you hear me
yes, but
better? Yes.
I think that's a little better. I just want to
Okay.
ask, are you so w are you referring to the Bible to verify Jesus's existence?
I would like to present a case of evidence of the Bible as well as Jesus. I had the Gospel of John, fragment of the Gospel of John in Manchester, England, and also another one is the proof of Jesus according to Tacitus, Roman historian Tacitus. He provides key historical confirmation of Jesus' existence and execution in his annals, stating, and in his words, that Amani Christus was executed by Pontius Pilate in Judea um, during the rule of Emperor Tiberius' reign. So that's a independent Roman source about the gospel accounts to the historical events of Jesus' crucifixion. There's the Seldan stele, is the house of David stone, refers it refers to the 9th century BCE basalt fragment with the earliest extra biblical mention, House of David, a term for the dynasty of King David. So this was Old Testament, suggesting David's kingdom was a real political entity beside the
So,
majesty.
Marlon,
Also like,
can I pause you for 1
and
second?
yes, yes.
Because I have a question. So what I the my initial rebuttal for this is I don't believe that what is written in the Bible is true. So if we're going to use that as evidence of Jesus being a real person and having done these things, um I that doesn't convince me of anything at all because I don't believe that the things in the Bible are true. It's inconsistent over and over again. Like Jesus's last words are different in different books. There's questions of like, was Moses ever face to face with God or was he not? Because the New Testament says that that's not possible. Like there are so many inconsistencies So I don't find it to be a viable source for this conversation.
I also want to
Like,
add that even
what
if
about
Jesus,
the historical artifacts, like the evidence
If the
presented? Yes.
artifact is a book of the Bible, then it's all the same. It's all the same stuff to me.
But what about like according to the words of Tacitus, like the Roman historian, like he has confirmation that during that time, Pontius Pilate, who is a real person, he
Mhm.
executed a person named Jesus Christ in Judea during that time. You know, so
Okay, so
that's something.
if historians are able to show evidence that Jesus Christ existed, Pontius Pilate did execute him, that doesn't mean that any other part of the Bible is true. And then I also would have a lot of questions about there are many people who say that some of the Old Testament stories are meant to be metaphorical, but some of them are literal and some of them are true. How is anyone supposed to know the difference between those things? It ends up starting this whole none of it makes any sense beyond that.
What about like the tendency, like the House of David stone? What do you guys think of that? As
I
evidence of
what are
King
you saying?
David from the Bible. It's from the 9th century BCE, and there's also the evidence of the existence of the temple in Jerusalem, Solomon's temple. So therefore, Solomon being recognized as a real person according to the Bible, he is the successor to King David, right? King David, the one that slayed the giant Goliath, was appointed by God, the shepherd boy. He is connected to the Solomon's temple, and also by the words of
Um,
Jesus, he was the one that prophesied. He has a prophecy that the temple would be destroyed when Jesus was talking to the religious
Marlon,
leaders.
I wanna
Just,
ask you something
yes,
really quick.
yes.
I'm kind of confused why it would I'm confused why it should matter to me if Jesus was a historical figure. Because like I said before, there are historical figures who we have made up stories about in the past. So since we've never seen miracles or magic before, I assume it's one of those. And a lot of people
Jesus
don't
was the
think
descendant
he
of David.
a lot of people
Like,
hold on, Marlon, one second.
yes, yes,
I have a second question.
yes.
A lot of people don't think Jesus fulfilled all the prophecies. That's why Jewish people don't think Jesus is the Son of God.
A lot of Jewish people didn't. Could you please repeat that?
What?
Could you please repeat what you've said earlier, please?
I said there are a lot of people who don't believe Jesus fulfilled any prophecies, therefore they don't think he's the Son of God.
Those are the people that were against Jesus Christ. They are stuck in the Old Testament
I think it's
beliefs.
because it's up
They,
to
they,
interpretation, personally.
these are the descendants of the people that had Jesus Christ crucified. They,
All
they,
right,
the
hold up.
people.
Hold on.
I,
Mm,
I think that the Bible is the historical book of Israel. Just like
But
that's what
is
makes it unique
inconsistent.
and
So
special.
but it's there are so many inconsistencies in the books themselves that contradict each other. So why would we think that it is a reliable source? It also was written, some of the books are written like hundreds of years apart from each other. So it's all hearsay. Some of the people who wrote the Bible weren't even there for these events. So how can we know that that's true?
I would like to apologize because I'm going to admit that most of what I know here, I learned at Catholic school. I've studied in kindergarten, elementary, and high school at a Catholic school. So from the nuns and the priests. So I'm not too versed in the Bible. I was under the impression that the Apostle John wrote John, and like Moses wrote the first four books of the Bible. You know, yeah. I was then under
We
Yeah.
the
don't know who
impression
wrote.
that. Yeah.
We don't know who
Well,
wrote
I
the
know that
Gospels.
Matthew wrote Matthew, and Mark wrote Mark. The
We don't
writings
have
of
proof for
Paul were
that.
written.
Yeah, we
What
don't know
about?
that for sure. We don't know that for sure, but even
But
if
why
they
does it
even
matter?
if they wrote the books, it doesn't mean that everything that happened in them is true. Many of these stories were written hundreds of years after they happened, allegedly. So you're taking the word of people who were not there, many of them that were not there. Some of them were allegedly there. But even if they were, how do we know that that entire book was not meant to be metaphorical and mythology? Because this is also a period of time where mythology was really popular. So why is this not
What about?
also mythology?
What about the existence of the temple in Jerusalem? Like that isn't like evidence enough. Like the temple in Jerusalem today. Even the word of Israel, the mention of the nation Israel, it came from the Bible, right? Right.
So what does the temple have to do with if the stories are true or not?
King Solomon was the one that organized the construction of the temple of Jerusalem according to orders from heaven by God.
We have no
It's
proof that
also
that was built because of orders from God. We have no idea that that's true. People built amazing things. Like we could see the Egyptian pyramids are amazing, and human beings built that. So what's like? They could have said that a god told them to build it, but it doesn't mean that that's
Right. I was
true.
just
It's
about to
the
say
same
that.
thing. It's the same thing. It's all hearsay, always.
I would give an example. Would you guys believe the events of the Bible if, let's say, we have a time machine and then we go back in time and you and me, we saw Jesus Christ in the flesh. He is doing all of these miracles. Not even Jesus, but also to the time of the Old Testament. And all of these miracles were happening. Would you guys believe that in the Bible? Would you
Yeah,
guys believe in that?
I would have no choice but to be convinced if I saw something being proven. That's how my mind works. I would believe. I don't know exactly what I would believe, but I think something's going on, something's going down. But we don't have a time machine. That's kind of
Would
like the
you
whole
be
point. And
followers? Would you be followers of Jesus or like be a
it
Christian?
it kind of depends on a lot of things. I don't think so. Because it depends on what kind of God we're even talking about here. If it's a God that's sending people to hell, like billions of people to hell for all of eternity, no, I would think it's evil.
I was taught by this in the Catholic school. It was said to me that these are the nuns and the that taught me. They say that hell is justified because hell is like a prison. Like if someone commits a crime, he goes to prison. He is arrested and he goes to prison. Like hell is the prison under the kingdom of God. In the United States, there's the death penalty, right? Or
So,
like
That's not
murder
sending
and
people to suffer for eternity.
I also have a question about this. Do you believe that God knows he has a plan for all of us? Do you believe that God has a plan for each of his children?
yes, by the
Okay.
teachings of the Bible.
Right. So if he has a plan for all of us, that means he is knowingly putting people on this earth that will go to hell. Does that sound like a loving thing to do? If you were a parent and you knew that your child was going to end up in jail and tortured to the highest degree for all of eternity, wouldn't you want to just say, maybe we don't have this kid?
This was what I was taught that people go to hell because of the Bible, because of the devil, because the devil tricks the people into doing evil things and tempting them. That's
So
why
people are getting
people
eternal
should
torment for being
people should
manipulated by the
pray.
devil?
People should pray to God and to Jesus in order to protect themselves, in order for the guardian angels to protect
So,
Marlon,
but
them
even
from the
why
even
are
so, even so,
Go.
then God is still dropping people on this earth who he knows will be tempted and fail. And he still is creating them and putting them out on this earth, knowing their plan. Knowing the plan,
they,
that knowing what's coming for them, he still puts them on this earth.
they say that the guardian angels assigned to each people would make an effort to prevent that from happening. Like like when you hear angels in people's
But then it
testimony.
sounds like we're creating people that are going to be so severely tempted tempted into something that will lead them to the biggest, most severe punishment for eternity. And these people we know that they are going to be tempted. And we are still putting them in a situation where they have this temptation and have to make all of these choices. Why? If we know God, like let's say you as God are going to drop someone into the earth and you know this person is going to be very tempted by all of these things. Why would God not be able to show himself enough to save this person? Why does this person have to seek out God and salvation? If God cares about his children, he should want to do that anyway.
They say that there is a process, there is a step by step on how to pray to God and to communicate to God according to the Bible. And when people pray, the forces of God will protect them. And that people right now
When
are.
you tell your parent that you love them, do you do it in steps or do you just tell them you love them?
I tell them I love them by words and actions. Actions speak louder
Words and
than
actions.
words. So, yeah.
Sure.
Uh,
But you don't have to do a series of steps for them to believe that that is true. They believe you even if you aren't doing specific actions to support that, because you're their child. Even when you're a kid, when you're a baby, when there's nothing that you can do really that shows that you love your parent, if you just tell them that you love them, they know. Why does there need to be steps? And it's also like that's feels so egotistical to me. There needs to be an entire process to proving that you love and
it's called
care
the
about your
tradition.
creator.
it's tradition, biblical tradition. Like
We know it's tradition.
that's how, yes.
We're just saying why it doesn't make sense, like, in real life. Like, as in
I
things we
I
should
was
actually be doing.
I was taught that people do not need to worry so much because like Jesus Christ that died for the sins of mankind, for your sins and my sins, and all we have to do is believe in Jesus Christ, and everyone
Marlon,
will go to heaven and be saved. Yes, yes.
what if I'm not convinced God is real and I can't force myself to believe God is real? Should I burn in hell for that?
No, no. I'm just
You
saying
just
this.
said I have to believe.
I would. Uh, I'm sorry if this is confusing for me to right now. I even tried to question this when I was a student, and like the Catholic nuns, they hit me on the head and they hit me on the hands with a stick, and they were saying, "How dare you question God? How dare you question His will and His power? He has all the power, so He can do whatever He wants. You do not have to
So,
understand. You only have to obey. That is what I've been
yes.
taught in the Catholic school. And like the Philippines is a Catholic country, like it's a Christian country. So yeah,
So does that so what's interesting about that, Marlon, is the Christian way is supposed to be loving. It's supposed to be Jesus Christ taught love and peace and all
yes,
of these
yes.
wonderful things. So why is it that when you are being taught about God and about your faith, you are being beat? That's not showing an example of love. And on top of that,
And
those are people who
they,
are
they,
trying
they told
to
me it
that
was discipline. Like they told me it was
but
discipline.
it's not
It's not so-
uncommon. We hear this all the time that there's so much abuse in these Catholic schools. Like we hear that all the time, these Christian or Catholic schools. So, then I start to think even if by some long shot this book is real, he is real, and we should be following it, the rest of the community is not following the word of your alleged God. So what benefit is it even giving people? And many times people believe because the alternative is fear. The they're being it's a fear tactic to get people to believe in an entire faith, and then at that point it's not faith. You are not believing without seeing. You are believing because you were beat into submission. And that's not faith. That's also not ethical.
Yes,
It's not like why would you want to be a part of that community?
yes, you have a point about that, and what you say is correct, but it's just been ingrained into me because I have went to kindergarten and elementary and high school in a Catholic school, and everyone around me is either Christian or Catholic because like everyone goes to church. It's a I live in a province in the Philippines, and it's the Philippines. Most of the people there are like Christians. Well, maybe more than 50% are uh, Christians and Muslims, you know, and that they told me that you have to do this and this, abide by these teachings in order to have better life. I grew up
So do
with
you so
You're
Christians around and Catholics, and
you're just
I've
telling
been very
us that this is what I've been told, so I believe it, and it's tradition, but that doesn't
good.
really address
I
why
I
anybody else should believe.
I I I, I will say in the situation where if question it. My 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 family, my relatives, my friends would give me that one like suspicious look, and they would ask, "Are you straying away from the faith? Because that's not good. You will be
Yeah, isn't that a red
you
flag?
will you will
Right,
have
isn't that concerning to you? And also, if you are part of a faith or any community that doesn't allow you to ask questions, that sounds like a
I I
cult.
I I I do ask questions about the it, and they, they, they what they would say, you do not have to understand, you only have to obey. God will give you the understanding in the future. He will give you the understanding when it's time. All
And
you
that
have
is a
to do
lie. That is
is
a lie that
obey.
they told you. That's a
I
lie.
I
I also wouldn't get any of my morals from the
my
Catholic Church when they have to buy child sexual assault insurance. There's no
it's
way I'm
like
taking any advice
my
about
mother is
morality from the
like a
Catholic Church.
Catholic
That's
as well as
insane.
her my mother is Catholic as well as my grandmother and her great grandmother, like, even from all the way to I think 1500s when the Spanish like colonized the Philippines. It's a long history of like I
I would
I've
does it
questioned
does
it
it matter to
even.
you does it matter to you if what you believe is true?
Yes, that the truth is very important. It's
So do you
very
because
important.
right now it doesn't feel
Well,
like even you believe that what you're
yeah.
reading is true,
I
and
I
you're
I
just
I
suppressing the
I
question of is
feel
this true or
I feel
not?
like connections. I feel like connections with my family and my friends would be cut off if they see me even being like a sign of being against it or questioning it.
So you're saying you
I
have
would
to
not
believe this. You
question.
believe it because you have to? I can
I
sympathize that you feel like you have to stick with something, but I just don't think that's very good at convincing anybody else it's true, and you're kind of telling that yourself that you are indoctrinated into it, you're not really allowed to question it, and you would be ostracized from your family
there are
if you weren't.
there
And that's
are
how they keep people
parts
in religion,
of
by the way.
there are parts of the Bible that I am against, but I try to keep silent about that for myself, and keep saying I agree with the good parts of the Bible, so that I would have connections with my family and my friends and the people around me, and in order for me not to be ostracized by like the community and the society.
Yeah,
That
I can
I
understand
will
that.
that I would suffer the worst if they even hear one word of me questioning
This
the
is
Bible or like
this is why there are shows and just people who criticize religion in general, because that is very abusive and brainwashing and indoctrination to convince people that they can't question, and then if you do leave, you get punished. That is cult behavior. Do you agree?
it's been happening for 300 more than 300 years in my country,
So,
Yeah,
even during the time
that
of
doesn't mean that
the
that
Spanish.
doesn't mean that it's okay. That doesn't
Yeah,
mean that
yes,
it's
yes,
okay. And it sounds like you are in a really tough situation because I think that you have more questions
Philippines
that
is
the
a very
questions that you
religious
have
country. Right?
yeah, and I totally understand. The questions that you have are really normal and you should be able to ask questions. That should not be a problem. Um your family making you feel like you don't have freedom in this is
It's not
really
just
tough.
them.
And
It's
it's the whole community.
my friends, people in my community, in every town, in every city, in every part of the country. Like
Yeah.
a portion of
I
that is Catholic, a portion of that is Muslim. Like in the Mindanao, Muslims are over there. Like,
Well, it sounds
that
like you are a part of this religion not because it is your full undeniable faith and you believe every
I
piece of what is in there. It feels like you're part of this religion because it is
like
ingrained into your life and there really kind of isn't
and
another option for you.
uh, I was baptized ever since I was an infant. That is a Catholic tradition, like being baptized in the Catholic Church when one is a little baby, you know. It's, and it goes from there, and then like
Yeah,
communion and confession. Yeah,
my family has been um Catholic for hundreds of years also. But my family does not I have not faced consequences from my family, which is really lucky and kind of rare for not participating in the religion anymore. Um, you having to face the consequences is not fair, especially when you're not saying that you don't believe, you're just saying that you have questions. And those questions should be okay to ask.
I
Honestly,
I
even if they don't have the full answer, like sometimes it's okay for someone to say, "I'm actually not sure," and maybe talk to like whatever a spiritual guidance in some way, like a priest or something. But you should be able to safely ask questions.
I've done that, and they've been pointed me to like the Bible story of Job, God and Job, and they asked me, why are you doing this? Well, Job did this, and God has proclaimed Himself to him. When God said to Job,
That's a
"Where
fictional
were you
story,
when
though.
I laid the Where were you when I laid the earth foundations?" God was saying, "Where did
But
where did the lightning and wind go? I created everything. How dare you
Marlon,
question?" Yeah,
don't you feel like if God really wanted to prove that he was real, he would. And you're a person who has questions and is struggling um to let those questions go in favor of blind faith. And God um is not helping. And that is really frustrating and can feel very scary and very lonely. But I want you to feel safe asking questions. I don't want you to feel like you have to defend this religion. Like the other part of it too
I
is
was
if it makes you safe in your environment, you know, do the things that will help you survive and be safe where you are with your family and with your friends. But what you're describing to me is not faith. What you're describing to me is being trapped in a manipulative and kind of abusive situation. Do you see what I mean?
they say that I have to keep the faith for the reputation of the family in the community and the family bloodline, and to keep that to my children and my future grandchildren, you know, like
Do
for
you but
generations.
do you see how harmful this is? Because your options right now are I
It has
either
harm in it.
um
I agree. I agree.
yeah, like this is not a healthy situation and this situation does not feel like the love that so many Christians talk about having because they are Christians. Like, this does not feel like love. This does not feel like care for each other. So I don't know. I think that I know you're in a really tough spot.
It's like in the home there are Christian symbols, and as well as in the grocery store, in the mall, like in the workplace. That's in the Philippines, like in in the workplace, in restaurants, like
Yeah.
and then on the
That's
other
why the
portion
religion is so
there's
big.
the symbol.
Yeah.
It's been big like it for a long time, and
But
there was
you
this
don't
an analogy. There was this analogy that was given to me, but from catechism class, they say I have to follow God. God is like a general, a general.
Yeah.
Soldiers should follow orders. You should do nothing but follow orders. Leave the thinking to the horses. They have big heads. Just follow orders and you will be fine. Trust the general, trust God. You know.
Sure.
What do you guys think of that analogy? Like in battle, the soldiers trust the officers, right?
Yeah, but I
Trusting
don't
the
I don't
officers.
think that we need a general of a god. Like, what you're describing is so based in fear and consequence, and it's confusing to hear that alongside so many Christians who talk about their faith being what makes them feel free and loving, and like, those two things can't be hand in hand. What you're describing, having a God who's a general and you just have to obey and move forward, that tells me that you're not thinking about what's true. What's true to you it can't matter right now because of the circumstances you're in and the environment that you're in. But if you could isolate yourself from the environment you're in, I think you probably would not be a believer of this faith. That's what it sounds like to me.
They say it's all on faith, that everyone has faith, even atheists. Do you guys agree that faith is trust? They say that faith is trusting God. Faith is like you have faith that when you get on the airplane, you have faith that it won't crash down till you get to your next destination.
No.
Like
That's
on the
not
ship,
based on faith. That's not based on faith.
it,
That's based on probability. We know the probability
it,
of things. We know the probability of a safe flight is more likely than us crashing. That doesn't involve
it,
faith. We just know the probability of it happening.
in youth group, they give me this example of faith that I would stand on top of a chair and fall back down, and I would have faith or trust that my friend from
Yeah,
behind
no.
would
Just
catch me in
probability.
their arms. That
That's just
exercise of
probability.
probability.
Marlon,
Okay.
so I want to wrap your call for now because we do have full lines and I want to make sure that we can get to some other callers. But
Okay.
I would encourage you to really think about what you actually believe to be true, and it's not something that you need to share with anybody, but I think it's important for you to take stock of what you actually believe to be true and what is just like fear-based, you know?
They,
That it
I
sounds
have
like it's a lot of
one last.
fear.
I would have one last question. If do you guys think that some religious traditions are good? Like in the Philippines, we have the Feast of the Saints, and when we are celebrating like Holy Saints, we have a big feast, and everyone eats a lot of food, and celebrating with food and music, like fiesta, like
my
religion.
my argument my argument isn't really so much against tradition. I think that I've always said this. I recognize that religion can provide community for people for the reasons you just described. They're very good at
Right.
coming together multiple times a week, but it also causes a lot of issues when it stops progression in really any aspect of life, and I have an issue with it whenever they indoctrinate people and then tell them they have to stay in the religion and then treat people like garbage when they leave. That's where I have issue with it. My issue isn't people getting together to celebrate something they believe in.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Happy New Year, guys.
calling.
Thank you.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. Okay, that was interesting. It was a little tough to hear him, but I
Yeah,
feel
I was
bad for
also
Marlon.
confused.
Yeah, I was confused a lot
Yeah,
of the time. I
I feel
feel
like
really bad. He obviously is just like trapped in this.
yeah, it was weird. I kind of was confused. I know I couldn't hear everything he said, but because at first it sounded like he was, like, arguing for it, and then at the end he was like, "Well, I question it, but I can't." Which, yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people feel that way. It seems like to me he was just describing a cultural Christian, which I didn't know was a thing
Yeah.
until forever ago, just like Christians basically falling in line and saying, "This is what our life is, and we have to continue doing that." And a lot of people do that in life, where society has created these steps that they tell you have to accomplish. Um, and people sometimes feel pressured to just fall in line, whether that's religion or whatever else. So yeah, it's hard, and I'm never gonna suggest someone like him, like, oh, just fight with them about it or just tell them how you feel because I know not everyone's in that situation, unfortunately.
Yeah. I feel bad. It's like it's interesting because that transition of he called in to explain to us why Jesus is real. Um and by the end, he was like, I actually don't have a reason to believe that he is. I just literally don't have a choice. And
Yeah.
that is a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
other
It's very
thing.
telling, and I'm sure, like, there was a lot of times where I think you just really wanna reaffirm your faith, and then when you go to do that, it just starts to crumble more and more, at
Yeah.
least that was my experience. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy. Okay, we have a bunch of calls, but before we get to calls, I want to read our schedule for the rest of the week. Well, tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and we're going to be doing a fun show tomorrow, and I think people are going to be like playing games and just hanging out. So, if you want something fun to do on New Year's Eve and you're hanging in, I think honestly, most of the line people were just kind of hanging in either like with our partners or our friends. It seems like it's a very chill New Year's for everyone. So if you're also having a very chill New Year's and you would like to hang out with the hosts of the line that will be hanging out online, you can do that here. I actually am not sure what time we're starting. I'll see if I could find it.
9 p.m. Central.
But there we go. Thank you so much. 9 p.m. Central. And that'll be really fun. So join us here for that. And then we have TACIS the next day on the first day of the whole year. Wow. And that's with Ben and Luxander at 2 p.m. Central. Wow, Lux, you kick off our entire year. Isn't that crazy?
I'm kicking off the whole year by doing that and then immediately doing Calling It Now afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Okay, fun.
Start us off
Fun.
right.
We don't have Calling It Now on the schedule yet. We should start doing that so that we can tell everyone too. And also, after this show, you can go to Jimmy's channel and watch him live over there as well. So we'll send you over that way. On the 3rd, which is that yeah, Friday. Or no, that's Saturday. Yeah, that's Saturday. Saturday the 3rd. At 6 p.m. Central, we have Cus I Wanna with John Gleason and Born Again Atheist. On Sunday the 4th, we have the 2 Sunday shows, the afternoon show at 1 p.m. Central with Promise and Matt, and the 7 p.m. show with Austin and Paul. On Monday the 5th, we have Skeptalk at 6 p.m. with Aaron, and the next host is TBD. And next Tuesday, I will be moving. So I will be in the car for a very long time. But Taylor will be here. And Taylor, do you want
Yeah.
to tell us who you're going to have?
Yeah, I'm bringing on I feel like a lot of you guys probably follow her on here and TikTok. I don't know if she has Instagram, but Sarah, she goes by Leaving Faith on YouTube and TikTok. But I already did a live with her like last month and she's great. So I think you guys are going to enjoy her if you if you don't already follow her. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Yay. Okay, cool. Oh man, we had a call that I saw in like the screening room and we ended up not taking it, which means they had to be terrible. And I'm so mad because the prompt was really juicy and good. But
Oh,
if
okay.
Dragan picked it up and was like, no, then this means this person is then that person was
Oh boy.
extra bad. But anyways, we do have a bunch of other calls. So lucky for us.
We have 2
Am
Theas.
I wrong?
Yay!
Okay, we have 2 Theas. Which do you prefer? Where do we go first?
Well, they're both great in my opinion. They're both great.
I know.
I don't know. Are you leaning towards I can't decide.
Let's pull in Brian because he's been on hold longer.
Yeah.
Because both of them are interesting. Okay, so this is Brian, a theist. He is calling in. What's MO? Montana.
It's Missouri.
Right? Missouri.
Thank you.
Now, how the heck is it Missouri?
Well, I mean, there's
That
a O in it. I guess that's the only way. Anyway,
That's so
thanks for taking my
confusing.
call, guys. I guess you're 2 for 2 now with Catholics. The last guy was a great call. It was interesting.
Yeah.
So my real question is, and it's not going to be long. I was raised Catholic, and I've always had problems with Romans, and especially the things that talk about slavery in the Bible. And that's been a huge problem for me. It's been a thing that I've really struggled with, and how it, dealt with like chattel slavery and how you deal with different slaves. But now I wonder, like, we go to these stores like Walmart and Target and everything, and we know that most of these products are made by basically slaves. So how does anybody really justify it, like now as opposed to then?
You know what I think is interesting about that? Because so we have this conversation on the line sometimes about how there are moments where our decisions as like modern day regular people are more ethical than the decisions that we see are being made by God in the Bible. So this is a really interesting sort of case study on it because you are a person who is concerned about the way that we are making like all of our products and how ethical it is. And there are people who are also very concerned. And I think a lot of the time, I think part of it is kind of ignorance. I think another part of it is cost, that things that are made that are ethically made are really expensive. And sometimes it's just kind of it can feel impossible for some people. But in this moment where you're looking at the options that are available to you, you're able to discern the conflict of purchasing something that was created unethically and knowing that you don't want to do that. And in the Bible, you have someone who's meant to be an authority figure and telling you like this is the way to live and is seemingly okay with slavery.
Okay, so but you would agree there's no way that slavery is correct in any way.
Yes, agree.
Okay, so like to own another person, to use them for your own means is it's not right.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, that's all I had to say. I appreciate you taking my call and thank you very much.
Brian, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I just wanted to say that when I very first became atheist, I struggled with this a lot, and it was
Right.
also because I was getting very deep into nihilism, and I started questioning a
Mhm.
lot of things, like you just said, plus like how we use animals, because I then recognized that we are like I used to believe, as messed up as it is, I was taught that people have souls and animals don't, which never sat right with me anyways. But I was realizing we're just a different species than them, which is obvious, but brainwashing and stuff. So it
Right.
was really a struggle for me to come to terms with the fact that existing in our society, and I heard someone say something like it's really hard basically accepting that living in this society is participating in violence, which sounds extreme, but that's how I view it too. And it's really hard to deal with. I still haven't figured it out, honestly. It's something I struggle with all the
I think
time. But I think
that's a definitely like living in society is participating in violence. That's an
yeah.
extreme statement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is extreme, but I believe it. It's not that people are, well, some people. I'm not saying everyone's malicious and like they want to. It's just the type of societies we have built up, which is a really hard thing to wrap your brain around. But if I ever have the answers on how to feel better about that, I'll let you know. I mean, obviously you
Yeah.
can there are people who,
understand.
become vegan. There are people who are very particular about where they put their money. So it's not like you can't do anything, but also, yeah, in general, we live in a very messed up way of living. And I think a lot of the reasons that people either A, don't think about it, or B, don't care is because we are so far removed from these things. We live in a very like comfy, I don't know how to even explain it, but a lot of people don't have to see any of this firsthand
Well,
ever. So
it's
I think
easier
that's
when you're
why.
removed from it. It's easier
Yeah,
when
Yeah,
you're removed
exactly,
from
totally.
it. You don't
exactly.
have to see it. All right. Well,
Right.
thank
Yeah.
you
No,
guys for
exactly.
taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you
calling.
so much, Brian. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
hopefully we all get a little peace around this because we feel that
I
pain.
think so.
Have a good rest of your
Yeah.
Have a
night.
good New Year's,
Happy
guys.
New Year,
Yep.
Brian.
You
Bye.
too.
Yep.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah,
conversation.
I like that conversation too, and I have like issues with this also. I think I've told this story on Chewed Gum before where I needed to buy face wash a while ago, but I had like a lot of different things that I needed to make sure that I was hitting. I needed to be like whatever, safe for sensitive skin because I
Yeah.
have sensitive skin. But it also had to be I wanted it to not be tested on animals and be vegan because why do I need animal products in my face wash?
Girl, I can relate to
And
this
then
so hard.
oh my god. And then I wanted something that would be sustainable, something I could continue to buy like, over and over again. So I ended up buying this bottle of Thayer's face wash that in my head I was like this is this hits all of the categories. And then I'm in the shower and I'm reading the back of the bottle as one does.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like where's the recycling like label? Where is it? You couldn't recycle it. And I literally and then I'm in my shower and I'm looking at all of the products on the shelf that are all plastic and I'm like this is a nightmare. Like this is actually a nightmare. So
Yeah.
I I stress out about that
It's
kind of stuff all the time too.
this is random, but I feel like all of this really what am I trying to say? It's more of a funny thing and not serious, but every time I see a Lush, all of this like justifies me spending so much money there because I'm like,
Mhm.
this is great stuff, and I don't have to feel horrible about where it's coming from or like because I just
Yeah.
feel like it's really hard. And when I started looking up the amount of products that are tested on animals, I was so shocked that it was still so money. But to be fair, I
Yeah.
wasn't looking at it in the past, but it was frustrating because I'm like, why do you still need and the
Why?
biggest thing for me is I own rabbits and guinea pigs, and I know they're like two of the
Yeah.
top things they do that on. So every time I see mine and I think about them doing it to them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even think about it. So yeah, it's really a hard thing
It's
to
awful.
even grasp.
They test on beagles a lot too, which is
I know. Wait,
uh,
why
I
beagles
just
though?
like
I've seen that.
I don't it has to be something about like their skin or DNA or something being,
That's
similar enough
awful.
to ours that the reactions are similar enough. I don't know. But even that, I'm like, really? Like, if it's safe for a beagle, it's safe for us? Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. It's awful. And
Right.
and Monkey with Typewriter just shared a fact in here 90-ish% of shrimp is
Oh.
harvested with slave labor. That's what I'm saying. I feel like we have there's nothing that we can ethically consume. It's
I
just
know
so
it can take you down a very dark path. And I feel like I've had to, you know, pick out not like there's only so much you can do is what I'm trying to say,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
like come up with the things that you're most passionate about and try and make a difference there, I think is important, but it's just so yeah, it's just hard because it's overwhelming if you think about every single thing you're like, "Damn, that blows."
Yeah. It sucks. It's hard. Yeah, I agree. You kind of have to pick some battles because otherwise it's
Mhm.
like, oh my God, it's so horrible. So horrible. Oh my God.
Right.
SJL, one of our chat peeps, someone in their neighborhood has a formal lab beagle. And his name is
Aw,
Elvis, and he's a sweet, dainty little
that's so
yeah,
cute.
Elvis. Um, yeah, it's just oh my God, it's heartbreaking. Anyway, well, if you are watching this video and you have not liked this video, what are you doing? Like the
Yeah,
video,
what the hell?
so that it gets pushed out into the algorithms so that for the next, bit of our show, we have lots of people watching and participating and joining the line, our little community. And go to patreon.com/call the line and you can become a patron where you get some bonus content from us, but you also are supporting not only this show, but all of the other shows on the line so we can continue making really wonderful content. And I know this is a tough time of year for everybody. This also happens to be the time of the year where like YouTube views and everything sort of like drops a bit. And so it's a tough time of the year for us too. But if you happen to have a little bit of extra money and you want to throw it our way to get some really fun merch or to be a patron, we really appreciate it. Or to send us super chats. You could send us a $5 super chat, and that also does the same thing. It supports this show and all of our other shows. So yeah, we appreciate you guys very, very much. And that's all. We have another theist who is who's waiting on hold. Should we pull in our last theist for the evening?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. We are gonna pull in Steelborn. That's a cool name. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we
Yep.
can.
All right. Want to make sure I sounded all right. I'm using earbuds.
You sound perfect. What did you want to talk about today? So you didn't like our title of the show.
No, I
But and
disagree
there's
with
like a couple other Yes. Tell us
Yeah,
more.
I've been actually sitting here writing down claims that you guys have made. One of the first claim would be that you can't question dogma in Christianity. That's actually not a dogma. So yeah, you absolutely can question dogmas. The thing is, you can't contradict the dogmas and then still be an active member of the church. So like this would be more specific to things like Catholicism and Orthodoxy. And what I mean by that is Orthodoxy and Catholicism have established dogmas that are like the church is an established thing. It's not like Protestant churches where like you can have 17 different Baptist churches and they don't know what's going on between each other. Catholic and Orthodoxy, there's an actual like structure to the whole church system. And so, in order to be an Orthodox Christian, you have to accept the dogma. Same with Catholics.
I wouldn't say that Christians never let you question. I am like making just like a generalization, what a lot of people do. But in my experience, there are a lot of Christians who quote unquote let you question as long as you come back to the conclusion that God is true and Christianity is true. So a lot of times, even though people claim they're so okay with people asking questions, because I was told that it was always okay to ask questions, and that I was okay with me asking questions, but once I came back to a different conclusion, all of a sudden it was not okay anymore. So to me, if you're not okay with someone coming out with a different conclusion, it's not really being okay with somebody questioning.
Well, it would depend on the reasoning for the conclusion they came to, and if there's a flaw in the reasoning, then the church would point that out, or whoever.
Everyone's going to have a
whether it was
different opinion on that, though.
No,
On
that
what's
you
valid
can't.
and what's
Not
not.
everybody can have a different opinion on that.
Yes, everyone's going to have a different opinion on whether your reason is valid. And the thing is, a lot of Christians are never going to say there's a valid reason because they believe that they're right. So they're not going to be like, oh yeah, that is a reason not to believe. They're not like, I have never, like, that's not really going to happen.
Well, okay, like let me ask you something. Do you agree that it's an established dogma of the Catholic Church that Jesus Christ is God? You have to believe that to be a Catholic, right?
Yeah, I'm not very, like, I don't know much about Catholics, but yeah.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
assume.
so
Well,
if
I guess
somebody claims to be
he's the
Catholic
son
and
of.
also claims Jesus Christ
he's the
isn't God, should the Catholic Church accept them?
Right.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it kind of depends because then you don't believe in that religion, and so why are you
So why
you
would
are saying that
why
you
would the
don't
Catholic
believe
Church
in
accept you?
because they're supposed to be accepting
What?
of everyone. They're supposed to be loving and
Well, what
accepting
do
of
we mean by
everyone. And
accepting?
why can't their response be you don't believe this to be true, and we would love to still welcome you here because we think that it still is valuable for you. It being being a part of a religion, we hear all the time people talk about how religion is important because it gives you moral structure. It gives you a guideline of how to live, etc. So why can't the church still offer that even if you are saying in that moment, I'm not really sure that Jesus is the Son of God. I don't know that to be
Well,
true.
it does still offer that.
Why can't I
The church would always
still
say that people should follow Christian ethics. So they do still offer that even to non-Christians. You could be an atheist who follows Christian ethics, which you wouldn't be able to ground your morality, but you could still follow it and practice them.
Why? So, do you think that not stealing and not killing are purely Christian ethics? Do you think nobody has done that before Christians or something? I'm confused.
No, what I'm saying is that outside of the theistic worldview, you couldn't tell me why it's objectively wrong to, unalive grandma and then eat her corpse. You actually couldn't tell me why that's objectively wrong, other than you just don't prefer it.
You can't
And I don't think
you're
I don't think you have objective morality either.
That's great, but that's not the claim. The claim is you said you asked me.
Yeah, and I don't believe in objective morality. I do not believe in objective morality. So I think this idea that we should be following your morality doesn't make any sense because Christians always claim it's objective, so it's superior to yours, and it's not because it's not objective. You just like Christians just claim it's objective, and it's not.
You can't give a philosophical grounding for why it's bad to do that outside of you would just prefer I don't do that.
There
You don't know
are
that to be
evolutionary
true.
reasons. There are evolution, like things within our evolution that led us to this point. But no, I don't claim that there's some bigger meaning or higher power. But who cares? Like if that, I recognize that makes people uncomfortable, but somebody being uncomfortable doesn't change anything. Like I think, yes, the fact that morals are subjective makes things complicated. They make things nuanced and have a lot of gray areas, and that is the world we live in. It's complex in so many different ways, which means that it's just a complicated thing that makes people uncomfortable, so they don't like it. But that doesn't mean that it's not true, that our morals aren't subjective. That's all we have proof for is that our morals are subjective. We don't have any proof that they come from anywhere else besides humans. Therefore, they are subjective, whether that makes you uncomfortable or not.
So would truth also fall in this category?
Does the truth fall
This
into
is
what
a top.
category of
Is
Of
truth
being
universal
objective?
and objective?
If you're willing to accept, I have this conversation so often, and I honestly don't, I can't stand having a conversation if people aren't willing to accept the reality we're living in. But yeah, if you see, especially if you see something that's tested over and over and over again and we get the same result, yeah, I think that is a fact. That's what humans perceive as a fact. But if you choose to not believe it and not live in this reality and not accept things in this reality, that's another thing that I can't even debate because we're not even living in the same reality anymore. So there's really nothing to talk about.
Well, what I'm asking for is truth, okay, so like water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit at sea level, right? You would agree with me that's true.
Okay.
Sure. I don't remember.
Are human, okay, so, in philosophical terms, the difference between subjective and objective meaning dependent upon mind. Does it depend on a mind that water boils at 212 degrees at sea level?
Sorry, it depends on a mind.
Would that be
Is
true
that
if
what you
there were
said?
no humans? No, I'm saying, would that be true if there were no minds? Would that still be true?
Yes.
It would still be true, but now I feel like we're in a place of like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, did it make a sound? That's sort of where I feel like we're leading.
Well, no,
And
it's not the same, because even if that was the case, yes, it does make a sound because sound is just vibrations of air. But the reason I'm asking
Right,
this is
but I'm
because
saying-
if truth exists absent human minds, but you can't empirically demonstrate truth, you can't hand me a handful of truth, right? I can't walk into a puddle of truth. It doesn't exist in the empirical
What does that
sense.
have to do with anything?
I'm explaining. It's a concept. It's conceptual. It's metaphysical as well. If it's conceptual and it's universal, that at 212 degrees at sea level, water boils, if that's always true, and it doesn't require human minds for that to exist, how can you ground that truth outside of a universal mind?
But if
because the thing still happens, I don't understand.
It's still it still would happen, but if there's no human, then Fahrenheit isn't real, and so water doesn't boil at 212 Fahrenheit because Fahrenheit doesn't exist. But it doesn't mean that water doesn't boil.
The system would still exist, but what I'm saying is the fact that water boils at that temperature, that statement alone, that's that fact. You can't actually hand me that fact. It's a concept, right?
Yes. So we know those things just happen, but we also know this because we weren't the first ones living on Earth. There were different species before us, and that stuff happened. That's how we got here. So there were things that actually happened as fact. So I'm just confused where this conversation's going.
Yeah, we started with morality, and now we're talking about the truth of boiling water. So
outside of a universal mind.
Okay, what about it?
What does this have to do with morality? Bring us back
Morality would be
around
another
to morality.
metaphysical category, such as truth. There's truth, knowledge, information, the laws of logic. You couldn't ground any of these outside of a universal mind because they're universal concepts. They're all conceptual. You can't hand me the laws of logic. They're not empirically demonstrated.
I'm very confused why I should give a shit about this. I agree with
bring us around.
We don't.
These are conceptual and they're universal. That necessitates a universal mind.
No, it doesn't.
What?
A universal mind?
How could you ground a universal concept outside of a universal mind?
What is explain universal mind. What is that? Have you seen pluribus before? Because it feels like it's like that. But explain universal mind.
Universal mind is what the Christians call God. It would be an uncreated
I don't think
being.
there's a universal mind.
So you're saying
then
I want to just clarify.
Can
I clarify what you're explaining? Like I want to say it to you, and so that you can tell me if I'm understanding what you're saying. Okay, so you're suggesting. Sorry.
The steel man. What you just described is called a steel man. I said I appreciate the steel man. It's the opposite of a straw man.
What am I
Just kidding.
okay.
Go on.
Okay, so what I feel like I'm hearing is that because there are things like, for instance, water boiling at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and we all agree that that is the case, even though it's not tangible, that suggests a universal, like, connected network of human beings, which is then meant to suggest that God exists. Is that, like, generally what you're describing?
No, what I'm saying is the concept of truth. Are things still true even if there's no human mind? Is what I'm asking.
We came up with the concept of truth. Yes, we came up with the concept of truth. That is different from things actually happening or things actually existing. What?
Hold on. We created the concept of truth. What do you mean? Do you mean we described a phenomenon and gave it the word truth?
Yes,
or
we like an
invented
event that happened, an event or something that happened, and we're like, hey, this is fact, it happened. We just created what a fact is to us. Like, other species don't have that in mind. Like, oh, this is a fact. Yes, it's something we conceptualize.
So what I'm asking, okay, I'll just use the easiest example, the three laws of logic. They have to be universal, and they actually can't be, or they have to be the case, because if you try to argue against the laws of logic, you have to appeal to the laws of logic, and thus showing why there's a problem. And you actually can't even imagine a possibility where the laws of logic didn't exist. Like, it's not even possible to do.
What does this have to do with God? Like, how are we getting to God? Because from my perspective,
there's no
God
such thing as
God
without human
would be
beings.
easiest described as a universal mind, right? Because God's not empirical.
No, I've never heard of that before. I've never heard somebody call him that in my life.
I also, so I feel like what's interesting about, from my understanding, what's interesting about what you're presenting is elements of humanity and what humanity has determined to be true and what humanity has created, and kind of implying that because it is universally accepted, for instance, that water boils at 212, that the universality of it makes it a God claim, which I don't feel like
No, you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on the empirical aspect of it. What I'm talking about, the fact is, would water still boil at 212 degrees? That would be a true statement, even if humans didn't exist, right? There would be no human mind necessary. That would still happen.
Yes,
sure.
That's a natural phenomenon. That's regularity in nature.
Hold on. The thing would still happen, but without humans, there is no so-called truth, because that is something we describe as humans. We created that concept for ourselves.
Is that always true?
Yeah, if we say it
Can you give us a situation where it? Can you give us a situation where it would not be?
Okay, you said, I want to make sure I'm stealing that in you here. You just said that.
That last question was the dumbest question I've ever heard. There was no point. What?
Can you repeat your last statement about truth?
Something happening in our concept of calling it truth and like connecting, like describing that to better understand the world around us and humans. We came up with the word and the concept about what truth is. That is just a thing, a concept we use to describe something. That thing being described still exists. It's just there's no need for the truth concept because there's no humans around. So who was using this truth concept? Who was using the truth concept when dinosaurs were walking around and there was no humans? Who needed the truth concept? Does that mean that nothing happened?
Okay, hold on. So were humans around when dinosaurs were around?
No.
Okay, no, right? Was it still true
Yeah.
that dinosaurs was it still true that that a T-Rex was not a Triceratops?
Yes, but we know this
Okay, so
because of
now we have the law of identity.
fossils and
A equals A.
physical. But we know this because of evidence that we have collected, physical evidence that we
No,
see.
we know this because of the law of identity. One of the three laws of logic, right? A T-Rex can only ever be a T-Rex. It can't be a T-Rex and a
Do you
Triceratops
think?
at the same
Hold
time.
on.
But
Do you think
those things are.
Do you think logic like exists without humans? Like, do you think that's a thing anywhere else? Who else uses logic?
Yeah,
With
I think logic can be grounded in the mind of God.
And so when we weren't here and the dinosaurs were, where was logic existing?
Was the
In
T-Rex
God's
a
mind?
Triceratops? Was the T-Rex
You think they have a
Triceratops?
you
Let's go with that.
you think they have a sense of logic? You think they make a
No,
choice
I'm
and they're
not
like,
saying the
this is
dinosaurs
logical?
understood logic. No,
Then
I'm
what are you
saying that at all.
saying?
I'm asking, was the T-Rex a Triceratops?
These are two different
You're not answering
animals,
my question.
but as defined by human beings who have been able to identify that they have different characteristics, and for our purposes it made sense to put them in different categories.
Well, we would put them in different
the
categories
purpose-
because they're not the same thing.
Well, in some ways they are. They're dinosaurs. They're warm-blooded animals. So in some
Yes,
ways, yes, they are.
That would be a different type of category. What I'm saying is the T-Rex is ontologically distinct from the Triceratops, right?
But they have similarities, but the reason that we put them in different categories is because they have differences, and for the purposes of the humans
Human
who were studying these
communication.
things, yeah, it made
Okay.
sense to put them in
Are
different
you a tree?
categories. Steelborn,
What?
are you a tree?
I'm trying to demonstrate. No, I'm not a tree. I'm a person. I'm trying to demonstrate the law of identity to you. You can't be you and not you at the same time.
I understand. What does the law of identity have to do with God?
The three laws
This
of
is
logic
such
can be
a
grounded in
stupid
the universal
argument.
mind. I'm trying to get through them real quick. So you can't. Okay, so you are you, right? So A equals A. We've got the law of identity. Can a tree be a rock at the same time?
No.
Yes,
we
through
call
it a
quantification,
rock,
actually, they
contradiction.
totally can.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
T.
can turn
Okay,
into a
there you go.
A tree can
So
be a rock
apparently, yes.
at the same time that it's a tree.
Apparently,
Yeah.
yes.
If
Look,
we also
Go ahead and
a
demonstrate
tree
that.
could also hold on. A tree could be a rock if we called it a rock as humans.
I'm not saying
Then it's a
I'm
rock.
not saying the term tree. I'm saying the thing tree. The thing we're pointing to when we say tree. Can that be a tree and a rock at the same time?
okay, for the purposes, I want to hear how these 3 points of logic are going to connect to the God claim. So I'm going to say for
I'll lay
the
it out in
purpose
simple
of
premise
moving
form.
forward,
Three
yes.
laws of logic are universal. The three laws of logic are universal and conceptual. You cannot have a universal concept without a universal mind. It's the impossibility of the contrary.
I reject that.
I reject that
Okay, on
also.
what ground?
Just
You
because
get it.
things are
For everything
universal
I
does not,
just
it has
said.
nothing to do with God existing. Something being universal has nothing to do with God existing.
How would a universal concept
because a
not
tree-
necessitate a universal mind?
Sorry, repeat the question.
How could you have a universal concept without a universal mind? Because human minds are finite. They're subjective. They're not universal.
When you say universal concept, what are we talking about? Are you talking about like the idea of truth?
Like a
Is
tree
this
and a
what you're
rock are
saying?
different? Is this like
Yes, like the
Like a
three laws
tree-
of logic, like the law of non-contradiction, right? Let's just start with the law of non-contradiction. It's the easiest one to demonstrate.
Because
Right?
what do you mean?
You
You're
can't
saying how
be
can
here
how,
and in outer space at the same exact time. You have to be where you are. If you try to say
Right.
I am me and not me at the same time, that makes no sense. You can't have contradictions.
But
They can't exist.
Okay, but here's the thing. Human beings have been able to communicate with each other. We don't do it telepathically. We do it through a million other methods. So we've been able to communicate to each other and observe with our eyes and our ears, etc., we've been able to observe what are the characteristics of this thing that I'm looking at that make it more aligned to the category of what people call a tree than what people would call a rock. And those names and those categories only exist because human beings.
Of the thing.
You're not. Sorry, what?
We're talking past each other, and we're not really. We're kind of talking past each other. So what I mean is, not saying that the category of tree, we couldn't just suddenly start calling rocks trees, and that that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying ontologically, the thing when we say tree, what we're pointing at, that has its own identity, right? It can't be not itself.
Okay.
Okay.
What about it? What about that?
Okay. That's a concept. You can't show me the law of you can't hand me the law of identity or the law of non-contradiction, right? But a rock can't be a goose at the same time.
But what does that?
You're saying because everyone on Earth recognizes that a tree and a rock aren't the same thing. There are universal concepts.
No. Not because everybody on Earth agrees that a tree and a rock are not the same thing. That would just be an argument ad populum. No, what I'm saying is, ontologically, the tree and rock cannot be the same thing at the same time.
Okay.
What does that have to do with God?
Okay, the law of non-contradiction. It's Can you think of anywhere where it would apply? Where it wouldn't apply? My bad.
What is the law of non? Also, how much money was Jordan Peterson's course?
I've never signed up for Jordan Peterson's course. He's an idiot.
Honestly, Steelborn, I'm gonna tell you because I think it's important. You sound a lot like him. So and maybe I'm not saying that as a dig, but if you think he's an idiot, and I'm not calling you an idiot either.
Like, what do you mean by what? I don't know what you mean.
You sound a lot. The reason I said that is because you sound a lot like you're saying things in a very similar way that he does. But okay, I'm sorry.
He does talk about
get back to
philosophy, but he doesn't actually narrow down anything.
I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. He just talks in circles all day long. But okay, so I'm sorry. What was the last point that you had?
Okay, can you think of anywhere where the law of non-contradiction would not apply?
Oh yes. What is
the
law of non-contradiction?
Wouldn't apply?
What is the law of non-contradiction?
The law of non-contradiction states that you can't have A and not A at the same time. So, like, I'll make it really simple. Like, okay, you can't be on the ground and floating at the same time.
Okay. So what does that have to do with God?
That would be a contradiction, right? So, can you think of anywhere where that doesn't apply?
Right. But at the same time, I only know about this Earth and this galaxy, so who knows what's out there? I have no idea.
So, do you think contradictions are possible?
Maybe.
Where I'm struggling to see where you're demonstrating this point is it feels like you are providing explanations of physics and then saying therefore God. Like why does it matter that I can't be on the ground and in the sky at the same time? What does that have to do with God?
So
connect the dots.
What I'm trying to demonstrate is that we have universal concepts that you can't refute, right? And they are part of objective reality. You can't refute these universal concepts, nor can you demonstrate they're false. Then you can't account for a universal concept outside of a universal mind.
Yes,
that is something you just
we are
made
using
up.
observational skills.
Just made that up.
We're using observational skills. Steelborn, if I know
the law of non-contradiction would be true if there were no humans to observe it.
But then what are we talking about then? If there are no humans to observe it, then what are we talking? If there are no humans to observe it, then the fucking wheels are off and we're not talking about anything that anyone knows anything about anymore. When I'm talking about the human experience and humans understanding that you can't be on the floor and in the sky at the same time, we know that because we are observing it, and we can observe that over and over again.
Think of any contradiction where it would exist.
Think of any contradiction
The issue
where it would not exist.
The issue.
No, I said, can you think of any contradiction that does exist?
What?
The issue with this is you saying because we live in the reality we live in, and two things can't be contradicting each other. That means there's a higher power. And I reject that statement. It sounds stupid to me. I don't know how we even got here. And I think this is just like a debate bro thing that doesn't make any sense. No, it's what you're saying. You just keep saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Because I can't find a contradiction that is true, that means God exists?
No, I'm saying that you can't negate the law of non-contradiction. The law of non-contradiction does not exist empirically. Like, I can't hand it to you, and I can't find a puddle of it.
So what does that
have
It's
to
a
do with
universal
anything?
concept.
So what is the conclusion?
It's a universal concept. Okay, do concepts
Therefore
necessitate a mind?
So you
But
just
this is
said
what you're
what we said.
describing
I'm
to
not
me.
gonna. No. I'm not gonna be
What you're
gaslit with
describing
this.
is-
You just fucking said what we said like 3 times, just in different language. I'm not gonna be gaslit like this.
Again, it sounds like you're describing
God.
physics. It's like it's saying that gravity exists because God, and gravity exists because God, because I can't hold it in my hand and I can't contradict something about gravity. Like that does not connect to a God claim. We have this conversation a lot with people who are theists, where they say, this is a way of the world, therefore God. This is a way, and I don't have a better explanation, and you don't have a better explanation, and you can't contradict this, and so, therefore God. And that does not make sense.
No, it's the impossibility to the contrary. Not that you can't negate it, and not that I can't come up with something better, and you can't come up with something better, so therefore mine's right. No, it's the laws of logic necessitate a universal mind because they're universal concepts. If you didn't have a universal concept, the laws of logic wouldn't exist, nor would they make any sense.
Why would they not make sense? There are things that happen because they are just like, because that's just what they are. Like it. Okay, hold
on. Your argument just now is the laws of logic just are because they are. Okay, God is because He is.
Yes.
Would you accept that as an argument?
Because no, what I'm saying is I can't accept a God claim for something where again, you're saying we don't understand, we don't have a better explanation, therefore God. That's what you're doing.
No. That's not what I'm saying. No,
what you're doing.
That's a straw man. No, I am saying that it's the impossibility of the contrary, that logic couldn't exist without God.
Explain it to me without reading it from the script that you have in front of you.
Logic
explain it to me in simple language.
Logic can't exist without humans. No other species.
No, logic couldn't exist without God because logic is a universal concept. Right? Universal
it's
concept
a human concept.
Between humans and no other species.
We came up with language to describe the natural phenomenon that is a metaphysical event that we're seeing.
It's not a metaphysical event. It is literally the world, the earth behaving as it is. I'm talking about creation is not a metaphysical event. This is the result of a chain of events, like literal, real chain of events, of evolution and all of these things.
Can we describe metaphysics?
Let's look up exactly the definition. Let's look it up, shall we?
Yeah, if you want to look up a working definition, I'm fine with
that. Okay. Well, it's not helpful because it literally says relating to metaphysics, and that's not so helpful. But I'm gonna get.
Is that Merriam-Webster's definition?
It's like whatever, just the first thing that came up. Okay, so the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things, including abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space.
Yeah, and the mind and reality.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with God?
Okay, like, does the number 7 exist in material reality?
It
No.
exists in that we can count. So if I have 7
Not the
oranges in
concept.
my hand, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 oranges in my hand, and that will be
Yes.
universally
Would there
true
still be
because we
7
have
oranges
created.
there
If there were no numbers to describe it, yes.
would there
There
still
would
be
be
7 of
7.
them?
There would be 7 oranges. There would be 7 oranges in the way that I'm in the way that I'm describing it in my language. The amount of
Yes,
oranges
you're
would not
describing a
change.
metaphysical phenomenon. That's what you're
It's
describing.
not a phenomenon.
7 is
It's literally
numbers
just
are
things.
metaphysical.
No, numbers are a descriptive label that is helpful for us to communicate something from one human to another. They are not necessary for the oranges in my hand to exist. The oranges
What I'm
exist
asking is,
in my hand
would there
whether
still
there's
be 7
language to
oranges?
describe them. There would still be the
Yes.
same amount of oranges whether I call it 7 or not.
Right. So when I say 7, right, and you say 7, and then somebody else in another language says a different thing, but they mean the same thing that we're saying with 7, we're pointing to a concept. We're pointing to a concept called 7 or 3.
Oh.
Okay.
Right.
Why does that have to?
Now,
Okay.
if I go to
Yes.
Mars and there's 4 rocks in a pile, if there's no humans, are there still 4 of those rocks?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now we're describing the exact same phenomenon. It's a category.
It's not a phenomenon. It's literally it's just things. And also the 4 rocks on Mars still exist, but we are not there to count
agree
them.
the
So
rocks
the
still
label
exist in
doesn't
material reality.
matter.
I can even grant you that it doesn't matter, but is it still true that there's 4?
Yes, if you place
What we
4
consider
rocks
to
in a
be
little
true.
pile, they'll still be there. Yes, sure. Hypothetically, they should still be there. But what does that have? Numbers are descriptive labels.
Okay,
The
hold on.
thing does not change.
Let me ask you, did we invent mathematics or did we discover it?
Oh, I don't know, and I don't care to have that conversation, if I'm being so honest. That's a whole rabbit hole that I don't.
Here's
I
what
think
ask you-
we
here's
I
what
think
ask
we discovered a way to understand the world around us.
I'll even agree with that. But like, we had to have discovered it because you can't change calculus. You can't change trigonometry. These
Right.
the concepts that we're describing with the numbers and the symbols, those would still that concept would still exist if there wasn't humans, because it would still be true.
So if
Now, it might not have a use
this
or
Earth,
purpose, but like it still exists.
Right.
It would
But
still be
why
true.
does that?
Like calculus would still be true if there were no humans, right?
Yes.
would
Connect
just-
this
it's
to the
just-
God
to
Can
me,
plan.
can you hand me calculus? Can you hand me the concept?
No. So is this? No, but just because humans have consciousness and we have used our consciousness to describe and label things and create things like mathematics so that we can better describe and communicate these things that we have found to be true. We found them to be true because they already are. We didn't create that truth. They already are. That has nothing to do with God. That has nothing to
It
do
does
with
have everything. Yes, it does have something to do with God.
No,
Because it
it
would
I'm
still be
sorry.
true absent human minds, and it would still be true absent human minds, and human minds are not universal, right? Then this true thing that's a concept would still be true absent human minds, necessitating a universal mind.
I'm sorry, I think you've spent too much time in debate circles because you're just saying in a fancy way because things happen, because we have facts, because we have logic to get to facts. There's a God, there's a higher power, which I just think is a bad argument. So we're just not going to agree on that. What you're saying does not make sense, and it's not a good argument in any kind of way.
Can you negate it?
What?
No, but you have the
Can you
burden
negate
of proof. You are proving to me that God exists. And right now, your argument is God exists because if I say that
The
there are 4
impossibility of the
rocks on
contrary.
Mars, if I say that there are 4 rocks on Mars, whether I'm physically there to observe it or not, they are there. Or like I don't agree that consciousness and agreeing between human beings on things like the number of oranges in my hand has anything to do with God. It has all to do with a physical thing in my hand that we are all observing with our eyeballs, and our consciousness is able to process enough to understand how many oranges are in my hand. Like the thing that's interesting.
I wish I could explain this better, but it's like
The thing that I think is interesting is
I think it's just a bad argument.
I think it's just not it feels like a combination of we don't have a better explanation, therefore God, and it feels like oh gosh, I lost the other one. Dang. Shit, sorry. I got like
This
I was
whole
like just thinking about
thing-
too many things at once.
This whole thing was like 40 minutes of saying because there are facts, there is God. And I think it's a bad argument. And I think that people can say it in a way that they think sounds good or sounds flowery or whatever, but it's not a good argument because you're basically saying, tell me why a fact is a fact. Tell me why this is the way it is. I've never claimed to have those
you from your
answers.
empiricism. You have an atheistic empiricism worldview, and your standard for evidence is all empirical. If you don't accept anything that's not empirically demonstrated to you, then I would like for you to empirically demonstrate either rights or numbers or mathematics, logic, truth, information, knowledge, any of these things. Empirically demonstrate them for me.
This is what I'm talking about. People do this thing.
I am holding one chapstick. Do you want to know why I know that? Because I see it, I feel it, everyone in the chat can see it. This is one single chapstick in my left hand. We know this to be true because we can see it. I know that I have never seen proof of God, ever, not once. Not the way, absolutely not in the way that everyone can see that I'm holding this chapstick. So, yeah, I need proof that is as sure as this chapstick in my hand that God exists.
Okay, so you want empirical evidence for something that people don't claim is empirical?
Yes. I do.
Okay, then demonstrate human rights for me.
Demonstrate human rights? No, I'm not going to do that. Because here's the thing, human rights are a necessity to ensure the safety and care for each other. God does nothing
rights don't exist,
for anyone.
And you actually couldn't
so
demonstrate
I'm not going to. God offers no value to me. He offers nothing because I don't think he's real. He refuses to show himself in any way, shape, or form, which is bullshit. And then he holds people captive under the threat of hell that he also created. So I'm going to tell you right now, I think that's a sack of shit. I think that even if God does exist, I would love for him to prove that he's a good person. And I know for a fact that this chapstick is in my hand
with this line of argumentation. It's all just an argument from incredulity. If I was God, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So why, in this circumstance, why should I want to believe in a being where I think that my ethics are better than theirs?
What's your standard for ethics? You have no objective standard to appeal to. You just say,
dude, you gotta stop being so hysterical. Wow, jeez.
Not hysterical.
Nobody
is. I
always talk. We're not saying that morals are objective, so you need to let that go.
No, I know that. I grant that you say morality is subjective. If morality is subjective, okay, let me ask you this: are everybody's opinions valid?
No.
Okay, so some opinions are better than others.
It depends on what you value. If you value like the progression of society, if you value other people, then some opinions are going to be better than others. If there's a goal in mind. Obviously there's no inherent
Okay.
goal. So
Progress.
opinions
Progress.
are
That's
all
okay.
just whatever inherently.
Progress.
Okay, progress. That's our action. Why should we progress society?
You don't have to care about
We don't
it.
have to.
I think the part of the
Oh, no,
reason
I didn't say
it is
I asked, why
the
should
reason
I?
shh, the reason we got here is due to our evolution, because we discovered we survive better in groups and communities and societies, and that's how we got to the point we are now. There's no inherent meaning to it. We just discovered we can, as living beings who are already here, we can create better living environments and better and just easier ways to live than we did in the past. Why is that so complicated?
I'll just grant that all that's true. Why should we progress? Why should we do that thing?
We don't have
It's
to.
people. We
don't
don't have to, but it's a bunch of people agreeing on a common goal because it benefits. They benefit for each other. They are both benefited. So why
Okay,
not?
why should we benefit?
We don't have to. Why? What?
Then why should we do it?
I just said why.
Do you not
If you
not want
value
to
living
yeah.
in a community and having benefits, and most people don't want to live in suffering and misery, then yeah, you're gonna want a better society. That's just our evolution. I know it's not like super great that like some kind of higher being gave us this ultimate purpose, but it's just what it is. We just evolved to this point because
Okay,
it
hold
was
on. Hold on, let me make sure
it
I get
helped
this
us
right.
survive as a species.
Your justification for why we should progress as a society is because we just should because we should. You don't really see the problem with that infinite regress? If I came to you with the argument,
Oh my God.
God
I'm
is
gonna
because
say
he
this.
is,
I'm
you
gonna
would
say this.
have
I'm gonna
10 years.
no. I'm gonna
Come
say this.
on.
I'm gonna say this one more time. I'm not saying we should. I am saying the reason we do is because of our evolution. People have discovered when you live in societies, functioning societies that work well, everybody benefits. You don't have to do
That's
it, but there's a
descriptive.
reason we
That's
do it.
descriptive. I'm asking you for the prescriptive. Why should we do that? You're going, because we do.
I'm not saying
We don't
should.
have
It's
to.
like it's not.
No one is saying we should.
I am saying
No
I
one
should
is
as
saying
an
we should.
opinion. And because I value other human beings, because I value myself, because I value society, right? But there's no inherent person or higher power telling us that we should. We're deciding that we should because we're deciding it benefits us. Why are you turning something so simple so complicated?
I'm just asking for a basic justification, and you're just like, well, I ask you, why should we progress society? And you go, we shouldn't. And I'm like, well, then, why would you value that if it's not something we should do?
Because you're asking
Oh my
asking
God.
a question
I
of
don't
what we
think you're
should do.
understanding.
And that is a different question than
we're
what would
talking
benefit
about-
everyone.
And we're talking about inherent purpose versus like what
Yes.
my own personal opinions are. When I said no, like I'm not saying we should. What I'm saying is there's not this higher power telling us we should. There's no bigger thing saying you should do this. We're just doing it
Not a requirement.
because a lot of people want to, or they were born in a society and that's how it works and they just followed along. That's all it is. It's not very exciting, but it's just a want that a lot of people want. And guess what? There's some people who don't want it and they go
Because
live
a lot of people want
in
slavery. Should we do that?
isolation.
There are people who do.
That
There are
is-
people who don't have a
again-
problem with it. Slavery still exists today.
Again,
There's actually, yeah, there's more slavery
top
and there's
of that-
everything. I just said, you said, well,
And
because people in society want to do this, that's why we should do this. And that's okay. That seems fair enough.
No.
If people want
That's-
to do
No,
slavery,
that's
people
not
want
what
to have
she
slavery,
said.
should we do it?
That's not what she said.
This is
She didn't say because some people want to
Hey,
do it, we should.
I apologize.
That's not
So
what
have
she
you
said.
noticed? Have you noticed a lot of the countries that become more progressive don't have slavery? So don't you think that's
The
probably a
countries that
part of
become more
our
progressive aren't going to
evolution?
exist in 100 years based on the current trends.
I don't even know what you just said.
You're not
You
listening
need
if
to-
you're talking. If you're talking,
Well, I
you
said all the
can't
current
also be
countries that are-
listening. That
You said,
if
do you
you're
notice how all
talking,
the
then you
press
can't
countries do
also
X?
be. If you're talking, you can't also be listening. That's a phrase, by the way, that my mom says to her kindergartners.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
aware.
you.
We're engaged in
Tyler.
a debate. There's going to be interruptions. You guys have interrupted me multiple
Can't
times too. I don't take any of it personally. I don't care. Whatever.
I
I
understand,
don't
but
mean to
can't
interrupt.
us
if
But
you
I
are
just got to
trying
remember,
to
I can't see you
understand,
talking.
but if you're trying to, I'm muting you for a second. If you're asking questions to clarify Taylor's point, and then Taylor goes on to clarify the point, and you interrupt her, then you are not hearing the answer to the question that you asked. When we interrupt you, it's for clarification more times than not. Okay? Wonderful. I actually think we need to wrap this call because we have another show that we have to get to, and we have a lot of super chats. I'm not super interested in hearing from Steelborn again, so I'm just going to drop him. Thank you so much, Steelborn. I appreciate the call. You also did not make a ton of sense. You were a little bit condescending in what you were saying to us, and you were not a good listener. Thank you so much.
I fear that
That was crazy.
I fear that if he hates Jordan Peterson, he has become his own like worst fear.
You are,
But
yes.
it's so frustrating because I think that people hate real answers to a real answer to something because they just don't find it satisfying because like our morals developing with our evolution is kind of boring, to be honest. And they want some
Yeah.
bigger picture or like a bigger story. And there is no bigger story. It's just our
Right.
species. And like we can see our evolution through our societies. Now, there's a lot of freaking problems. I'm not saying that, so nobody get on me for that. But what I am saying is a lot of times humans progressively come up with ways to make life better or society better when someone's not in there that's like money hungry, but you know, or power hungry, but you know what I'm saying. So it's just so simple why a lot of people would move away from slavery because it benefits more people and it could benefit society in a like bigger way. And it like having human rights in general makes things better for everybody. And like it's just
Yeah.
that simple. And I feel like he hates to hear that. And I don't know what else to say to him. I just don't.
Yeah. That I also the amount of times that he was saying, "Let me make this more simple for you. Let me make this more simple for you."
I know. He's
Listen
a
to
debate
me.
bro. This
Listen
is
to
what
me.
they do, and this is why I don't interact with them.
It's the Phil
Except for on
bros.
here.
It's the guys who are so obsessed with using philosophical terms because they think it legitimizes their argument, when in reality all you've done is create so much confusion around what you're trying to demonstrate.
Yeah,
If what you are trying to demonstrate
exactly.
is true, you should be able to do it without using
Right.
these phrases. You should not need to be I shouldn't have to be looking up what philosophical like fallacy or whatever that you're referencing. I shouldn't have to do that. If you understand these concepts and they are true, then we shouldn't have to do that. It's nothing about it has nothing
I
to do with simple or not simple.
But I genuinely feel for the longest time that people did like Jordan Peterson because he did this. He did this
Yes.
thing where he would cause so much confusion, and it would be, and I've seen him debate certain people where the people debating him would start to like, it was so irritating because it's like, dude, we're going in circles and circles and circles, and you're creating all this fog for like, for a reason because it's hard
Yeah.
for you to explain. And then it's just I feel like it's a shitty way to debate. Honestly, I feel like sometimes debating is very performative with some like debate bros, right? Like they want to sound a certain way and they also want to belittle people and make them seem like that like I'm way smarter than you even if their argument like after all the
Makes no sense.
flowery language is dumb.
Yes. Yes. And also for what it's worth, I think that even with all of the language and flipping through all of these like ridiculous, I heard him flipping pages. So for him to tell me that he's not reading anything off of a script is bullshit. I don't buy that. He also was saying exactly the same phrase over and over and over again. So absolutely he was reading from a script. And when we were able to demonstrate that what he was saying didn't make sense and was not true, he was unable to do anything else aside from regurgitate the same shit over and over again.
One thing that, and I've had this experience with like one person online, and I literally could not handle it anymore, so I stopped interacting. But I genuinely do a lot of times enjoy these types of conversations. But one of my biggest pet peeves, and I've seen this like growing more and more and more, is where people will say, "What's my argument?" You say what you think their argument is the best you can. They're like, "No,
Yeah.
you're strawmanning me," and then they'll explain what their argument is in different language, same argument,
Yeah.
and say you're not understanding it. And they just do that for hours. That's what
Yeah.
that's what freaking Andrew Wilson does. I've seen him do this. And I genuinely
Yeah.
think it's because it's just easier than having the actual freaking conversation.
Well, and also
But yeah.
if I'm explaining it back to you and your response to me is that I'm strawmanning you, no, I'm not. You're bad at explaining your concept. That's what it
Right?
is. You are not actually explaining you're strawmanning yourself, babe. You are not explaining your argument the right way. Sorry.
Right.
Maybe you need a
Right. And
different way to interpret it and share, but that's just not.
And I feel
Oh
like
my God.
they use these terms like way too loosely because we are genuinely trying to understand what you're saying and you won't let us. Like straw manning is for people who don't want to address the actual argument, and we're trying so hard to address the
Yes.
argument and he won't let us
Yes.
address it. So it's just like that's not what a straw man
Right.
is. I'm sorry to tell him.
Yes. Okay, we do want to take one more call before we go to our super chats. And if you called in today and we didn't get to you, please call in next week or the following when I'm back. But we're gonna take one more before we wrap and pass the show off to Jimmy because that'll be really fun. I don't know what the title of his show is yet, but I saw someone in the chat said best of luck with the title of your show. So I think it's going to be spicy, or he's baiting for spicy at least. So definitely head over there when we wrap. But we are going to pull in Michael, who is calling from Canada. He's an atheist. Hi, Michael.
Oh, hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Michael.
How's it going?
I just want to say I've enjoyed Taylor on the show tonight. Do you have a channel, Taylor?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube, but I'm most active on TikTok by Skeptical Heretic is my name on those.
Okay, I tried to search you up, and I swear to God, I got Taylor Sheridan in the Google search. So
Yeah, my
weird.
my first name isn't in. Wait, what'd you say? You looked up? Did you look up just Taylor or something?
I looked up Taylor SH, and I got Taylor Sheridan. That's all that came up in the Google.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe you can
Yeah.
share your channel in the chat. I'd love to follow you. But
Q&A
Alyssa, I'm
line.
already
Q&A line. Just toss it in there. So and actually, if you go in
Awesome.
the chat right now, Q&A line has it in there, and then one of our mods, Calicia, also has Taylor's link tree in there.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. Alyssa, I'm already a fan.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Yeah,
Thank you, Michael.
I love your video breakdown. So, okay, the reason why I'm calling is because I'm curious about your thoughts on the divine feminine. Just without context,
Yeah.
like what do you think of? I guess it's sort of new age.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a patriarchal tool. I think it's trad wives repackaged, patriarchy repackaged. I think it's meant to. I think that the way that what makes it most nefarious to me is it's these like it's always packaged from a beautiful, spiritual, like calming woman who's like, you need to reconnect with your divine feminine. And then she's going to sell you a course for $500 about doing that. And what it essentially is, like sometimes I think that when you're doing those that work, things like embodiment are really helpful. Like sometimes I do really think that we are not so connected to our bodies as we used to be because life moves really fast and like we're not really checking in with like the physical sensations of our bodies as much. that I can get behind. But what ends up happening, and I see this all the time, is women saying, "You're not finding the man that you want because you're not connected to your divine femininity." And I'm like, "What the fuck are we talking about?" And, yeah, so that's sort of how I feel. I don't know, Taylor, what do you think?
My view is pretty similar, honestly, like spot on, because the stuff I've seen, I can't say it's all bad because I haven't honestly like dug deep into it, but the stuff I have seen, they keep talking about living a soft life, and that is their definition
Yeah.
of being feminine, and so that equals relying on men to be the provider. So yeah, it's just like more patriarchal stuff in a different way. I if it's I don't know. I just don't I was going to say that if it somehow makes people feel more feminine and that's the way they want to feel, whatever that looks for them, and it makes them feel good, great. But I just don't even think we need the divine feminine thing to get to that point. I feel like there's way more cons than any pros, and I'm not even sure what the pros are, to be honest, if there are any.
Yeah, I I think I sort of like felt okay about it and even like indulged a little bit because like I don't have an issue with people just generally calling things sacred, and if you can find
Mhm.
something sacred in your femininity, then all the power to you. And just also um what was I going to say? Like I think there is an issue with religion with people who are so staunch and just don't have any give and maybe don't see it as metaphorical. Um,
Mhm.
but again, I'm not against like people's like spirituality, but just recently, like the reason why I'm calling, and it's just interesting that you both have the perspective that I just obtained. Just recently, someone put it into the context for me that part of this idea that just women are the givers of life and the sole creators of life, and men are just inherently jealous of that. It kind of like someone put it in the context for me of just saying like that's kind of like it's about the immaculate birth, and in
Mm.
that way it's sort of in the context of Christianity.
Yeah.
And is yeah, and just yeah,
It
that's why I
feels like
wrote
it's like
in
a gateway. It feels
yeah,
like it's a
and well just
gateway conversation into all of that other stuff. Like, it feels like and this happens a lot too, where this divine feminine conversation then gets, very easily creates a pipeline into spirituality in general, and it's always the people, I think, who are really pushing heavy on the divine feminine stuff, that then, like, 8 months from now, they're calling themselves a pagan witch, and I'm like, "Huh? How did we get here? What's going on?" And like, it's like
yeah,
I think it had potential to be really helpful, actually, because I think there's, like, feminine and masculine traits that exist in all gender expressions, and it's helpful for
mhm,
everyone to feel, the full expression of everything if they can. But the other thing, it's also frustrating too, because what I feel like it does is it makes a message for women who don't feel feminine and actually prefer to
Mhm.
feel either sort of like neutral, or they lean into the parts of them that feel masculine. It makes them feel like they shouldn't do that. That means that they are
mm.
not a woman. It like invalidates their womanhood. It makes them feel like they're doing something wrong. And I don't like that shit either. It's just weird.
I also want to add that I've always said that, whatever type of life a woman wants to choose, whatever, but I am now like starting to vocalize, but I like completely not building any kind of income, not having any kind of independence. No, I don't think that's the right choice. Do I think you should be
Mm.
forced into it? Um, no, but it's just kind of am tired of pretending like it's a rational choice because people get into really, really bad situations. Now, I feel like there are ways you could get around that by maybe rating something in like the like a prenup of like, if you leave me, I am owed this. But I just keep seeing women who were told to go to a man, be a stay-at-home mom their whole life, never really have a job, and be the provider. He gets up and leaves, and they have absolutely nothing. And one of my mutuals actually became homeless because of this. And so it's super frustrating to see that being taught to women and being like, it's okay to, I just don't think it's okay. And that's like the point I'm at where every human should be able to have some kind of independence, or it gets super dangerous for a lot of people, and obviously women specifically.
Yeah, it's often promoted by like these people with like trad wife like sensibilities, and yeah, no, what I'm feeling is like that it's a reaction to patriarchy, which is why I kind of felt like it was safe to promote for a while. Is just because like
Mhm.
again, just like in reference to the power dynamics. Of course, you want to uphold people who are in a lower class, but yeah, because it's a reaction, it ends up being in the same context, and
Mhm.
just yeah, I don't know. I've just recently had some very new feelings about it, and I find it interesting. Both of you are already there, so I guess I'm late to the party.
You know what though?
It's probably
I had a
also because
similar
we're women.
experience. Yeah. But I had a similar experience to you, Michael, where at first I was like, "Oh, this is so nice." Like we're getting, especially because I work in sex education, I want people to feel connected to their sexuality and their sexual
Mhm.
expression. And I've seen people benefit in exactly that way from the divine feminine language and like ideology. There's one woman in particular who I've done workshops with her actually, and she does like movement and dance and stuff like that. And she talks about divine feminine stuff. She like breath work all over. She talks about divine feminine like stuff.
Mhm.
And I've seen her work, bring women to tears because they're feeling, connected to their bodies for the first time and whatever. So what's unfortunate about it is I feel like it had an opportunity to be exactly like you said, like in response to patriarchal standards, but then it ended up sort of like mimicking the patriarchal standard, which is weird. It had
Yeah.
opportunity to be something cool, but I'll tell you, one of the craziest experiences that I had with the divine feminine crap is there's a woman, her name is Layla Martin. She is, she markets herself as a sex, love, and relationship coach. This woman has no certification, no training. I remember for a period of time, she had on her website, I've been keeping tabs on this lady because I think she's so crazy. She's on her website, on her homepage, it said that she attended Stanford, but I was like, that's not the same as graduating. That's weird. That's very specific
Mm.
language. And I was like, something is up. Something is weird about this woman. So then I start digging into her whole thing. So she herself calls herself a coach, and then she teaches her coaching method that she made up based on nothing and sells that coaching program to other women for, get this, $14,000 fucking dollars. Her course, her
Wow.
pre-recorded online course for $14,000. And then she, in marketing that class, in that coursework, she markets it to women. It's like MLM crap. She markets it
Hmm.
specifically to women. She tells you you will make all of that money back and it's a matter of time. Most people who do this program, they make this money back in, a year or whatever, but only if you try really hard and you're really committed and blah blah blah. I'm like, this is so predatory, and all of her language
Yeah.
is divine feminine. The reason that she sells her course the way she does is she sells it through the lens of helping women specifically. Like it's so targeted to women that I'm like, this actually makes me more mad than so many other grifts in this life, because you are specifically targeting a vulnerable group of people. You're telling them they're going to make back $14,000. Of course. And of course, she offers a payment plan, very flexible payment plan as well. It's just crazy.
Mm.
You
Anyway,
need to
if
do
you
a
ever want
YouTube
to,
video on that.
Yeah.
I know,
So
I really
yeah.
should, because she's crazy.
Yeah, so it just ends up getting co-opted in the end. But yeah, like originally, I think it is about just like let's uphold the things that they try to oppress us for. Like let's
Yeah.
take the things that they say are wrong about us, and let's let that be our armor and our shield. But yeah, but I think from even originally, it's a little problematic because being a reaction to it ends up in conversation with, and therefore it ends up sort of like upholding those standards in some way. But yeah, absolutely, like anything that becomes a white woman thing ultimately gets co-opted, and it's just,
Dude,
I guess
no, it's
it's
so
sad to
true.
And
see.
also I view it the same way. Like
Unfortunately, so true.
I'm very like not. I've never like things like what psychic mediums and like I don't know, stuff like that has
Twin
always bothered me
spirit,
because it gets so scammy and it's so predatory a lot of times. And like when people do certain things like tarot cards or whatever, I'm not really pressed about it, but I just recognize that stuff turns so bad so fast and scams people. And like as soon as people start make money off of it, it's like, all right, well, I don't know. It just gets really weird.
Yeah, I'm curious. Okay, so I'm on her website again, that woman, and on her about page, it says, having studied human sexuality, neuroscience, and biology at Stanford University, I combine cutting edge education with over 20 years studying Tantra, Taoism, and early witchcraft.
No thanks.
Excuse me? And don't you think that if you graduated from Stanford, if you worked your ass off and you studied neuroscience and you graduated from Stanford, you would say,
she definitely didn't
graduated
graduate.
from
That's why she
Stanford,
used that language. Yeah. You're right about the language.
Oh,
I need to see if I
sorry.
could find out.
People are in the chat are telling me you have like practically no time, so I'm going to get off really quick. But just one more comment for that last caller. I hope they're still listening. Just understand this is a debate format, but just if you feel like you know something that other people should know, like just don't come in so hot. Like let it build to that. Like when you come in very aggressive, like that, you're really just here to kind of harm people, and just that's not how any good teacher. Yeah, that's not how any good teacher functions. So, but I'll get off. I appreciate you both addressing me, and thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you so much, Michael. Happy New Year.
Bye. Yeah, Happy New Year.
Bye.
No, but for real, you need to make that you should do a little investigative work and make a YouTube video out of it. It would be so cool.
I'm going to, because no one talks about her, but she has allegedly worked with tons and tons of people. Apparently her email list is like hundreds of thousands of people. She also has a podcast. You need
to do a deep dive on this woman.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is exactly what I'm going to do, actually, because she says that her coaching method is rooted in 10,000 hours of practice. I just can't. Anyway, she drives
Does she have a big following?
Crazy. She has a fair amount on Instagram, but I think it's her podcast that is really where she where she has the bulk of her people. She has 120K on Instagram.
for YouTube, sometimes I love picking something that's like weird and just spending a lot of time researching it and then make a video about it. But one of the things, and I wanted to share this really quick because it's just so whack to me. Have you on Instagram seen the comments that are like, read this book, and it'll be like a random book title by so and so, and it'll change your life and it'll change your perspective and it'll change the way you look at the world. Have you ever seen those comments?
No. Oh, yes, I
So
have. They're
I
like
get-
scammy though, right?
Yes. So I got about like 10 of them on a video I posted last night. And I was like, okay, I want to know what the scam is. So I haven't looked into it a lot, but I'm going to more. It basically leads people down a conspiracy theory route if they're not already. And yeah, it's about money, but more it's about putting ideologies in people's heads. And I was like looking at the book because they'll name it differently based on what your content is. So because I used the
Oh.
word spiritual warfare, they used that in
Yeah.
their comments. But if it's let's say it's a workout video, they'll say something about testosterone or something in the title. But they're just like they can be like you can buy like a PDF file download, and then it was even on Amazon. And so I clicked on. I'm definitely not buying it. I'm gonna try and find a way. If you guys know a way I could like find this stuff and actually read online, let me know. But I clicked on it. The first review isn't. It's a book that's open and it's an AI picture, and you can tell because there's two spines on the book. And it was just so weird because the reason I think this is so weird, sorry I'm rambling on, but because I've seen an uptick in AI videos of people supporting Trump and the right, like a ton of them, like fake videos. And now I'm seeing all these comments and I'm like, this is so, it's just way more than what it was before. And it's creeping me the fuck out. Like how they do this and how hard there are people pushing for everyone to be a conspiracy theorist, because it's all about those books are all about not trusting doctors, not trusting scientists, not trusting anything in media, just to basically build a lot of distrust. And I'm like, this really is like the best tool for fascism. And it's just horrifying. But yeah, I wanted to share that because it's just whack.
And it's good everyone keep their eyes out for that crap. Unbelievable.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Let's get to super chats so we can pass off to Jimmy. And we have quite a few of them, so we'll try and get through them as quickly as we can. $10 from Alyssa Nguyen. Other Alyssa, I'm in the OC. We must meet up when you're in LA. Taylor, the Apple computer logo was a rainbow apple with a bite. Eve was the first to violate the terms conditions. Is that what it is? Eve was lesbian, confirmed. I'm confused.
Wait, I feel like I'm missing a piece of
rainbow
information.
apple with a bite. Okay. I get it. Also, I would love to do like a line chat meetup sometime. So if there are more people on the West Coast and in the like LA area, we should do that. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. $20 from Jessica87. My last day with Linda today. She goes back to Finland tomorrow. It's been the best Christmas of my life, and we are officially engaged. Thanks to you. I know that's fast, but we are 100% certain of this. #thank you. Aww.
Yeah,
that's so sweet.
I have chills. That's so awesome. Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Talk about a good Christmas.
So beautiful. Oh my God, hell yeah.
I love to hear
$10 from the atheist mechanic. It's so sad hearing that people think hell is justified. That is not just, not loving, and not moral. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that first call. Yeah, sad.
$5, sorry, from Dernwine. Is this supposed to be TACIS? Is this what or am I reading this wrong?
Tacitus.
Tacitus literally just says the Christians existed 64 116 CE, and they took their name Christ. He's just repeating what they tell him. Yeah, he just was just repeating. I mean, he said that. He's like, I'm just repeating what they told me in Catholic school.
$5 from Alyssa and Win. There is no God, just an imprisoned alien trying to steal your starship. Hashtag what does God need with a starship? Hashtag Star Trek. Yeah. Yeah. I wish that was what it was. That sounds fun.
$5 from Juan E1. Yeah, you get the point. Thank you, girls, so much for this. You may not hear this enough, but it can save someone's life from Christian abuse. Much love to you, girls. Thanks. I appreciate
Thank you. That's really nice. $5 from Joshua Everett 9887. Thank you for a great 2025. Love you all, hosts and chat, and some of the callers. Thank you so much. You all make 2025 and all of the other times on here very special. I appreciate it.
$4.99 from Hannah Hodgins 9516. This is why I can't stand dogma. It hijacks people's minds and preys on the vulnerable. I so hope that Marlon breaks free, sending love and courage. Yeah, it's really hard depending on like the environment you're in, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was sad. That made me very sad. $5 from Other Alyssa. Or maybe you're first Alyssa and I'm Other Alyssa. American components, Russian components, all made in Taiwan. Russian cosmonaut Armageddon 1998. I don't know if I get it in this moment.
$5 from Space Barbarian.
Okay.
Space Barbarian 3484. I just heard Talk Nerdy podcast about dog testing. They use beagles because of the infrastructure to breed them for hunting. Oh, okay. That's sad. That is so sad.
It's really sad.
Hate to see it.
I can't think about that right now. I need to move on, otherwise I'll cry. $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. Just bought both of your mugs. Which side of the mug is the handle on? The outside, silly. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. That's so nice.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
$5 from SJL. Changing my profile is the only way I can find to show a picture. Abby on the left, Elvis on the right. One of the few dogs Abby actually likes. Oh, babies! They're so cute.
So
the way they
cute.
bark and howl is so funny. They will be like lifting up their legs off the ground because of how hard they are barking.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
I love it. $5 from Alice in Dr. Pepper. If God leaves a pot of water on the stove but is taking a poo in the bathroom, does the water experience a phase change from liquid to gas? No, and exactly. That's exactly my point. That was so brutal.
$5 from Joshua Everett 9887. Steel bomb, please prove need for grounding in the first place. You Philbro types are so beyond useless to real life and the rest of humanity. Yeah, I recognize that some people are into like certain things that I just do not care about, if I'm being honest. Like when people are basically saying like, is reality reality? How do we know if it's reality? And that's why you shouldn't care about proof. I'm just like, okay, well, this is a huge stretch for me and I just don't think it matters.
Yeah. $5 from Coffee Mom. The more serious he tries to sound, the funnier it is. Sorry, Steele. Being raised as a Christian doesn't turn imagination into prescriptive facts. I know. And the more he was like, let me make it simple for you, the more I was like, I'm actually going to put my fist through this computer because I'm so frustrated hearing that.
$5 from Sad Tech Geek. You guys have the best show on this channel. This cis man learned so much from hearing your point of view. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind.
Thank you. £5 from Mystic Mind Analysis. Non-human animals do what is in their nature to survive, and helping equals survival. Morals are descriptive of what we ought to do for human well-being. That is so well put.
I don't think he would have even let you if you tried to go down the evolution route. Taylor tried to bring it up like, no, there is like a reason. And the reason is we survive more and we have collective like empathy because we have fairness. Yeah, he just was like, let me talk to you about the laws of logic, which definitely exist without human brains.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's enough to make you crazy.
And when he kept going, but should you?
And I said, no, like I said, you don't like inherently, there's no should. And he just couldn't accept that for some reason.
Nuts. Oh, $5 from Alice and Dr. Pepper. What was the first T-Rex? The idea that species are different is so complicated. When was the first human born? The law of identity doesn't apply. Yeah, that was also very annoying.
$20 from Prairie Form 42. Well, just got here, just got caught up on double time, and it was painful. Things are just things a new Sky Daddy needed.
Yeah.
I know, and I hate simplifying it like that, but I'm like, this whole argument boils down to there are objective things or like facts, therefore God, and I can't with that.
Yes, it's always, what's interesting is I think it over and over again, all of these conversations are the same ones, just repackaged in different ways. And then like the philosophical bros call and they do the same argument that everyone else does.
Yes.
With other language. It's the same thing. I don't understand or I don't have an explanation, therefore God. That's literally what that entire 45-minute call was. 1086 from Corey Springer. Thank you so much. I think if there was if there was other text in there and we're missing it, let us know. But thank you so much if there was not.
$10 from Alyssa Nguyen. U.S. Navy surface ship nuclear reactors are
ostensibly
at sea level. Reactive coolant is liquid water at 4x Fahrenheit. Exact value classified. It's not boiling. Checkmate. Stillborn. #nuclear.
There you go.
Weasels.
There you go. Period. I saw some people talking about the sea level affecting the boiling point also in the chat. $4.99 from I Am the Big Cheese. Ironic that caller says T-Rex can't be tree or whatever, but Trinity says God is Jesus and his Holy Spirit. How is that all not a contradiction? Yes.
Yeah, I saw this comment earlier.
That's really good. I'd like to know his answer to that.
$5 from Squirrel Knitter. I love that name. Is Steelban using chewed gum to test his thesis for first year of philosophy? Probably. Maybe he just took a class. I don't know.
$5 from the Atheist Mechanic. Steelborn, I have a concept of your call being dropped, and I hope it happens soon. This call was so dumb and frustrating. Well, you got your wish. I did drop him.
$10 from Perry Form 42. You keep using that word logic, and I do not think you know. I do not think it means what you think it means. Yeah, there was a disconnect there. I don't know.
$10 from Anonymous. You put up with Steelborn. You deserve my dollars. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
$4.99 from I Am the Big Cheese. Why can't concepts not exist without God or a mind? What is metaphorical concepts and a dark grounding or about them? It was a rough combo.
$10 from Mr. Boricua 10. Steelborn, logic and concept are just means to understand the universe. Yes, it doesn't need a deity. Even without us, the universe would just move the fuck on. We or God aren't needed for this work. Yes, that's what I was like.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
Can I also just add, I'm pretty sure that the way that we describe this in the historical record is that calculus was invented. Like, it's not like calculus existed and someone discovered it. We invented it. That's the whole fucking point.
Right. Exactly. It's just like a human way to that's what I said to him. Like, we discovered a way to communicate it. That's it. That's all it is. $5 from Space Barbarian 3484. Can we see proof of dog? What dog?
I think
is
we
this
were
a
talking about
request
like
for Alyssa to bring your dog?
That's what I was saying.
I can do that. I don't think that that's what it is, but I'll go get Bonnie. I feel like you guys haven't seen Bonnie in a second. Hold on, I'll get her.
Goblin time.
Should I read this one? Just go ahead and read it. Okay, $5 from Empress Lizard 81. I'm loving these names tonight. I'm thinking I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward. Good one. Happy.
Hi, we have Bonnie here. Hi, Bonnie. Do you hear her sniffs? No, probably not. Okay.
How old is she again?
$5 from. She's 14.
Dang.
She's an old woman. $5 from Melatonin LA. Alyssa and Taylor are real ones for putting up with Steel Bum for this long. He needs to chill the fuck out. He's spiraling into a Phil Bro frenzy. I know. How ironic was it that I asked him about Jordan Peterson and he went, I think he's an idiot. And then I was like,
he became his own worst enemy.
I felt bad because I was like, I'm not trying to call you an idiot, but you kind of called yourself an idiot. Oh,
$10 from Jimmy
nice.
Snow. Happy birthday, Reggie.
Happy birthday. That's so nice.
Happy birthday.
$10 from Jividen83 for dropping Steelborn. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Felt like it was time.
$5 from Trinket the Clown. Thank you, Trinket the Clown.
Scary. $10 from Mr. Bodiqua 10. Okay, now Steelborn's dishonest ignorance. Oh, sorry, Bonnie. Dishonest ignorance and highbrow attitude are pissing me the fuck off. It's not enough to be incredulous of concepts being man-made. But he needed to be a dick about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
$4.99 from Reanimatron. Concepts exist with a mind because that's the way the simulation was programmed. Checkmate, Steelborn. Everyone's loving Steelborn.
I know. $10 from Infinite Saxon. My wife and I watch together and genuinely enjoy y'all's show. It's our nightly routine to watch this channel. Thanks for thoughtful conversations. We're supporters and encourage y'all to keep going. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
I also see a question in the chat for Bonnie, and the question is, who's a good girl? And it's my mom.
$20 from Perryform42. Amazing show, so good at what you do. As it's year end, I would like to say, may the best of 2025 will be the worst of 2026 for you and for all of those from the line. I've had a bit of wine, so I hope that makes sense. I think it makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really nice. $9.99 from Hannah Hodgins 9516. Much love. I took a break from lives for a while because during the holidays I had a huge depression dive that was mostly caused by extreme religious extended family members and needed a break. We all have, I'm sure, experienced that before. I'm glad you did the thing that felt good for you. That's what's most important. And welcome back.
$5 from Joe White 4564. There is no external should. Yeah, exactly. And yeah. You know the drill. He wouldn't accept it. So.
$5 from Alice in Dr. Pepper. Me and my spouse are beginning our poly journey. Alyssa, as a sex therapist, is there any resources you use or recommend? Well, I'll say first that I'm a sex coach, not a therapist, and a sex educator is what my certification is in. I think that all of the ones that I would know are kind of the basic ones. It's read Polysecure, But I think honestly, one of the things that helps the most is following real people on social media that are in poly relationships because those are the people who are experiencing and living in it day to day. Some of the best advice that I have gotten are from other sex educators who are using their own words every single day online, and that's been really helpful. So I would say, in terms of resources, find some poly creators because they'll be able to give you real everyday language, everyday situations for you to take advantage of.
$5 from Melatonin Ale. Alyssa, I'm gifting your mug to an evangelical friend. Taylor, I thought about gifting yours to my evangelical mother-in-law, and I'm gonna keep it instead. That would be diabolical. I don't think you should do it, but maybe if you're brave enough.
I love it. $5 from Legally Mod. Alyssa has weird cats. Cute though. Yeah, you're a weird kitten. My little chicken girl. Okay. This has been a very eventful show. Thank you all for watching.
Yes.
Make sure that you go to Jimmy's channel and watch him there. I think the link will be in the chat. Thank you to our crew and our mods, Lux for producing, Dragon for screening, and all of our lovely mods in the chat. We appreciate you so much. Go to patreon.com/calltheline. Check out our Patreon and go to what's it called? linemerch.com and get our mugs.
Yeah, get our mugs.
And Happy New Year! Oh my God, see you in 2026.
Happy New
See you next
Year!
year. See you in 2026.